going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a few days ago, Nadeshot said something on stream that it just resonated with me so well, because I have been thinking the same exact thing for ages now. And this is coming from, someone like myself who loves indie games. I love indie games. I love, smaller titles. I don't always have to play AAA huge production games like something like Call of Duty or Battlefield. I love all different types of stuff. I've been playing a lot of Delta Force. I used to play World War III back in the day when that dropped. I used to play Islands of Nine before they closed down the servers and that game died out. I played PUBG before it blew up. I used to love that game to death. I play all different types of games. But what Nadeshot says here is just, it's so factual, and it's so sad to see how many people are just falling into this disgusting mindset. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm going to run up this clip real quick of Nadeshot, and we'll discuss very shortly after.
There's something weird that has happened in the gaming community. I'm serious, too, when I say this. For some reason, everybody in the gaming community wants games to fail. It's very bizarre. Like, the whole thing with XDefiant is still, like, stumps me to this day. People complain about not having enough games to play, but when new games come out, even before they have played it, they're like, that game sucks, I'm not going to play it. Listen, man, if we keep tearing down these studios trying to make good games, like, yeah, not every single one is going to be fun, and not every single one is going to be a hit. But if we're sitting here, like, preying on its downfall before the game even comes out, what do you think's going to happen? Nobody's going to be investing in gaming and making new games. And you're not going to have shit to fucking play. You're going to be sitting here playing MW2 Remastered Edition. You're going to be sitting here trying to play fucking the same old games for the 1,000th time because these billionaires and fucking multi-billion publishers, they're not going to greenlight any new games, any new concepts, any new IP. I mean, I try to put myself in the shoes of myself when I was like 16 years old, but I can't. I was excited for new games when they came out. The problem is now we have too many options. We've seen too many different games. We've seen too many different ways to interact with games. Like, back in the day, bro, in 2007, when Halo 3, Gears of War 1, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare dropped the same fucking year, bro, we were lined up outside of GameStops, whether it was in a mall or attached to a fucking Hollywood Video, sitting there waiting, camped out, drinking fucking Mountain Dew, waiting for these new games for the midnight release. Everybody was so excited about it. Now when new games come out, we're fucking sitting around a goddamn fire witch artifact, like doing a satanic ritual for the game to fail miserably. I don't really get it.
Now, I won't say this is for every single game. Like, Elden Rings is a perfect example. The game dropped, everybody loves it. Still to this current day, everybody loves it. Nothing ever changed for that title. But I would say, yes, for a massive majority of games out there, they run through exactly what Nadeshot just said here. They all suffer from people wanting to see the game fail. Even some of the most popular games, like what was that one Pokemon, spin-off game that everybody was talking about? All I see now is people saying the game is dead, it's dying, it's pointless to play now. Helldivers 2, phenomenal game. Not really up my lane, though. I prefer to play more FPS games than, games like that, but I still had a ton of fun playing it, and honestly, I'm still going to revisit it and try out the new factions that are going to be implemented, not factions, but, the enemies are going to be coming through. It's a lot of stuff I still want to try. But, people, all I see on the internet is the game is dead now. Nobody wants to play it, right? If the Twitch views are dropping for any of these games, it is now an irrelevant title. People literally will pray for the downfall of any title they could possibly think of. Infinite Warfare is another good one, and I don't want to defend, the jetpack phase there, because I know a lot of people were tired of them, jamming us again and again and again and again with jetpack games instead of adding in a little bit of variety. But it's true. People judged Infinite Warfare before even playing it. They knew they weren't playing it before the game even launched. And not because they were saying, oh, I'm tired of jetpacks, I don't want to do this anymore, or oh, I'm going to rebel against Activision, I don't want to support Activision. No, the reason they didn't play it is because of all the hate it got, so they automatically had in their head that it's a bad game without even trying it. They already judged the title. And I'll be real, I think Infinite Warfare was probably one of the better jetpack games. I know, unpopular opinion. I had a good time with it. But again, nobody gave it the light of day. It had over like 1 million dislikes for a trailer. Nobody played it. Again, it was the hate train. And that's how it always frickin' goes, even with XDefiant. These problems that people speak of are, yes indeed, they are relevant. But I just put together a video for Modern Warfare 3 as well, where all the people on the subreddit page are saying this happens all the time. This is a problem 24/7. The same stuff, right? Lag, netcode, getting shot around walls, bullets not registering, rubber banding. And they're saying this stuff happens 24/7. It doesn't matter what community you go to. You can go to any game out there. People will always try to prey on the downfall of every game before it even launches, instead of trying to encourage them and support them and follow them and try to lift them up to be successful. We want these games to be successful. It just doesn't make any logical sense to me. Everybody hates all these massive corporations running monopolies on all these games, like EA with Battlefield and, Activision with Call of Duty. We have all these games that run a monopoly that we are forced into every single year with no alternatives. And then when we finally get the alternatives, although they have problems and they need work and they have to grow, and people are begging for these alternatives. They are literally on their knees begging for an alternative to these AAA products that are running a monopoly on everything in the gaming scene. And when we get these alternatives, people push them away. Instead of saying, yes, I have a fair share of problems, but we want this to thrive. We want it to grow. We acknowledge the problems, and we're going to keep pushing. And if I'm going to be real with you guys, the XDefiant developers have been nailing it. Weapon balance, great. Faction balancing, a little bit more work, but pretty dang solid. Pretty much all the bugs have been polished off, and even though more bugs, do pop up, that's just typical game design, they're on top of it. They fix them every single time around. Once again, the biggest problem is probably the netcode in the hit reg, which will be fixed over time, and they're picking up more developers to hopefully work on the netcode and hit reg so it can be produced a little bit faster. But why are we bashing these guys when we want this to be alive? We want this game to thrive. We want this game to be competition sometime down the road, to add another alternative so we don't have to be forced into COD every 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? But nobody wants to support it anymore. It happens to everything. Splitgate. Over half the people up in here are probably going to say they love Splitgate. Then why did everybody stop playing it? And why did everybody start saying it's dying? World War III. Again, everybody wanted World War III to be the alternative to Battlefield, and I will agree, the development cycle of World War III was very interesting. But when the game first came out, and it was a ton of fun, and everybody was, getting into it, and they're like, wow, a solid Battlefield competitor. Once again, half the people were sitting here saying it's pointless, it's gonna die, it's horrible, this will never be able to compete. Like, people literally prey on the downfall of every game I could possibly think of. Every single game, with the rare exception, like I said, Elden Ring is probably like the only game I could possibly think of that doesn't run into this issue, and maybe some other single-player games. But 9 times out of 10, if it's an online multiplayer game, especially an FPS-style game, people don't want to see anything else succeed. But in the same breath, they don't want these massive corporations running a monopoly on them anymore. Make up your mind then. If that's seriously what you want, if you're tired of them running a monopoly and you want more variety, then make up your mind and start supporting instead of preying on games to fail. And I'll be real, I do believe it's because of exactly what Nadeshot said. We just have too many games now. Back when, online shooters were just starting to really, hit their stride, it was all unique, like his examples, right? Halo 3, Gears of War, the original Call of Duty, right? When all these games dropped, they were new and fresh. But how many years down the road are we now? We've pretty much played everything under the sun. Between arcade games, mil sims, to, games like Battlefield or Battle Royales, over to extraction games, we have played pretty much everything at this point. So when new games come out and they try to compete with Call of Duty, or they try to compete with Battlefield, or they try to compete with Halo, they get brushed under the rug. Nobody wants to give them the light of day, because I guess they would just rather go play their AAA version of it. But again, I'm not making this video towards the people who are okay with playing Call of Duty and are happy there. I'm making this more towards the people who, once again, hate all those games, but once again, don't want to support any other games and, try to follow them on their come up. They don't even want to bother, and they would rather, once again, pray for the downfall of these titles. But ladies and gentlemen, do me a massive favor, go down in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about what Nadeshot had to say there. Do you think he's speaking facts, or do you think he's full of crap? Regardless, I would love to know what you guys have to think down in the comment section. Again, I think that he has some truth in what he has to say. Not 110%, because there are games out there that have nobody out there in the community contesting them, right? I mean, I shouldn't say that, actually, because Elden Ring does have a fair share of people who say the game is too hard. It's always going to be people hating these games. The point to be made here is people pray for the downfall of these titles before they even go ahead and launch. I mean, I even see people praying for the downfall of Delta Force Hawk Ops now. It's only an alpha, a great Battlefield contender, and people already want it to die. It's just like nobody wants to support any of these games. I simply don't get it. They're not even bad games. It's beyond me. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. Post daily here to 8 in the morning Eastern time. And if you want to check out any of my live streams, I will be live today over on Twitch between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. You guys find a link to that channel down in the description of this video. As always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace out.